All right, here is the review for the test on 1.3 to 1.5. First, the quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus, I should say x equals, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? Remember, if you're ever going to put in a negative number for b, that the outcome when you square it is positive. All right, so looking at number one here, we need to find all real solutions. So we're not worried about imaginary numbers or anything like that. We can just maybe try to factor this or use quadratic formula. This is an easy problem to factor because 6 times 2 is 12 and 6 plus 2 is 8. And so we're going to just simply have x plus 6 and x plus 2 equal, and multiply those together to get 0. And then once we have two factors, we can set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So x plus 6 equals 0. You're going to subtract the 6 and get x equals negative 6. Over here, you will subtract the 2 to get x equals negative 2. And those are the two answers. For number 2, you have to be aware that this is not set equal to 0 yet, so we need to subtract the 4x to both sides. And we get 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. You could factor this, or you could use quadratic formula. If I factor this, I am taking 3 times 1 to get 3. And then the factors of 3 that add up to negative 4 would be negative 3 times negative 1. And so I need to split my 3x squared into 3x times x. And I'm going to have my factors of 1 are just 1 and 1. To get negative 3 and negative 1, both of these need to be negative here. So I get 3x minus 1 and x minus 1 equals 0. And then I set both of those equal to, each of these equal to 0. So 3x minus 1 equals 0. And I'm going to have x minus 1 equals 0. So let me work over here. 3x minus 1 equals 0. I will add the 1. Get 3x equals 1. Divide by 3. And I get x equals 1/3. Now for x minus 1 equals 0, I will add 1 to both sides and get x equal 1. All right. Looking at this next equation, 1, the factors of 1 cannot add up to negative 5, so I have to use the quadratic formula here. A equals 1, B equals negative 5, and C equals 1. And I'm going to have the opposite of negative 5 plus or minus the square root of that negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1 all over 2 times 1. And negative 5 squared is 25. And then 4 times 1 is 4, so minus 4. That is 21. So inside of here is 21. So I get 5 plus or minus the square root of 21 over 2. And 21, if I try to do the factor tree, I get 3 times 7, and I can't come up with any other factors. And the square root of 21 cannot be simplified. Therefore, I am done with that problem. Number 4, if you multiply 3 times 4 and get 12, you can come up with the factors of 7. Or you could use quadratic formula. It's your choice. I'm going to go ahead and write out the factors. the factors would be, with this one, knowing I only have a couple options for 3x squared, that's going to be 3x times x. Okay, I know 3 times 4 is 12, and the factors of 12 that add up to 7 are 4 times 3. So to get 3, I'm going to multiply 3 times 1. So this would line up with the 1 over here. And with x, 1x, I would multiply that by 4. So that is going to line up here. So this needs to be 4. I need to have a positive 7. So this is plus and plus. And you think about the FOIL process, 3x times 1 is 3x. 4 times x is 4x. And if you add those together, you get your 7x. So these are equal to 0. So we're going to set each one of these equal to 0. So 3x plus 4 equals 0. Subtract the 4. You get 3x equals negative 4. And then divide by 3. And you get x equals negative 4 thirds. For x plus 1 equal to 0, you subtract the 1. And you get x equals negative 1. And those are the two solutions. Number 5, 6, and 7 says to use the discriminant of b squared minus 4ac to determine the number of real solutions. Now, in our notes, we learned that b squared minus 4ac, if it is greater than 0, that is 2 real solutions. If it's equal to 0, that is 1 real solution. And if it is less than 0, meaning a negative number, then there are no real solutions. And that's when we come up with our complex solutions. So all we have to do is plug in the values and know if we have a positive number, a 0, or a negative number. So here we have a equals 1, b equals negative 6, and c equals 1. So if I plug in, I get negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1. That is 36 minus 4, which is 32. So 2 real solutions, because 32 is a positive number. For number 6, a equals 3, b equals 2, and c equals 1. So I'm going to plug in, and I get 2 squared minus 4 times 3 times 1. That's going to give me 4 minus 12, which is negative 8. That's a negative number, so no real solutions. And for number 7, a equals 1, b equals negative 2, and c equals 1. When I plug into the formula, I get negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1. That gives me 4 minus 4, which is 0, which means I have 1 real solution. Okay? Solution. So that's how you determine how many real solutions you have, is using that b squared minus 4ac. Okay, I'm going to do number 8 on another video. So.